Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the Council of Future Conflict. My name is Scott. I'm the proprietor of the Future Conflict channel. Today we got episode 681. We're talking about the coming civil war in America specifically, and the UK report. It has a name that would probably get us in trouble here on YouTube. So out of the sensitivity of that, we'll wait until later in the show to actually mention what that's about. But you guys probably already know about it. And then, of course, the Civil War thing is, there's a lot of shit going on in America, whether it's Antifa attacks and indictments in Minneapolis, or the Delaney Hall stuff in New Jersey, or the UFC. We still don't really know what happened there, and I think there are as many questions as there are answers. So we need to when you have so much happening all at once, that frays the very fabric of a society. So it'll be interesting to see where that all ends up. But as always, to talk about these cool topics and many others are my two buddies, Joe and Watcher. Joe, how you doing today?
I am splendid, well, and good. Went out yesterday and put out a bunch more flyers for our event up and down the valley here. Looking to be one of our biggest events ever. That's going to be pretty darn cool. We made some partners at a couple of new gun shops along the way. A lot of cool stuff. I wanted to, we like to showcase others on Twitter and whatever who are doing business. And Too Many Commies, or History Actual, made these cool hats. And he asked me what would be a cool design for a Marpat hat. And I said, well, of course, the Jerusalem cross. So you can buy one of these from Apocalyptic Morale, which is his shop. Very cool hat. It's got the Jerusalem cross on it, and it's Marpat camo. He's got it with a couple other designs on it too. Very cool stuff. So check him out. And while you're out checking stuff out, go to Mountain Readiness, check out Mountain Readiness West, and use code Wisdom5 to save 5%.
Joe, have you thought about trying to get on some of the local radio stations to talk about the event? I bet that would be a pretty good way to get people who actually still listen to the radio in their car are our kind of people.
So Scott, and thus Scott joins the ranks of the vast majority of people in my life who feel like I don't know how to do anything. Yeah, we have radio ads already bought. Yeah.
All right, well then there you go. Well, I don't know.
Everyone believes that they need to explain the most simplest of things to me. Apparently, I give off a vibe. I don't know what it is. That's okay.
Yeah, well, I just wish you would think, especially of me and Watcher, as having the best of intentions versus the more negative of intentions that I think.
No, I think you do have the best of intentions. It's just that everyone thinks the dumb kid needs help. That's okay. I am the dumb kid.
I was going to say, I wish you'd point out this dumb kid to me because I've never met him before. So,
I thought that was Braxton, but
well.
But yes, we have radio ads for that. And we also have another event coming up after that on August 15th that we have radio ads for called My Brother's Keeper, where we're doing a concert to benefit Wounded Warrior and the camp. And we're going to have a Creedence Clearwater Revival tribute band and a Leonard Skinner.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's actually going to be pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to that event.
When will that be?
August 15th. It's a Saturday. And I think it starts around 3 p.m. It's going to go on for a little while.
A good kind of take it easy, listen to some live music, have probably some good food available there, and
there'll be good food available. We say bring your own lawn chair and bring your own beverages, but it's going to be a really good time. But don't act a fool, because me and my crack security team will boot you out if you act silly. So
there you go. You heard it here first. Looking forward to that. Watcher, how you doing, brother?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not doing great, man. I'm trying not to let stuff that's happening in another country affect me too personally, but at the same time, holy fucking shit, man. Yeah, the report that we're going to reference is it's something else because it's there's literally not a single page of it that you can't turn to in which a crime against humanity was committed that deserves that literally just cries out for retribution.
Well,
Um,
yeah, the irony there is that I mean, you're gonna you need industrial scale cleanup to make
yeah,
this whole
well,
thing
no,
right.
yes, and I mean we'll get there because it's one of the main topics that we'll get into, but people are bandying about that this is Holocaust level stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, I agree. This is actually Holocaust level stuff, and it deserves Holocaust level
Well,
punishments.
I don't know about Holocaust level because Holocaust is a very specific event against a specific group of people. I think this is
Yeah.
definitely
I'm talking about like needs
genocide.
international courts to come in and say no. Which
Well,
is why
I'm
we bring up
never
the Holocaust, because that's literally the first time that ever happened.
I'm never okay with international courts because there are no such thing as international courts. They're just a bunch of people who like to stand on ceremony and people give them power.
Tell
But
that to the Nazis we executed at Nuremberg.
that being said, well, that's because we executed them, you know, and
That's kind of my point.
so I guess what I'm saying is that yeah, this is literally a genocide against the white British people by Muslim and Central Asian invaders, and it can't stand. It can't stand. We'll be talking about that in the second segment today. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about. I don't know if you saw it yet, Joe, but I found an AI funny video that I swear to God I thought this was you doing a night security patrol check on the around the area based on some of your encounters with bears. Did you see this already?
Oh, hold on, I'm going to share it with audio.
Talking about, so I don't know.
Yeah, he's gonna share it. It's funny.
I got to share with audio. Sorry. There we go.
Yeah, I just could see Joe going through around there, and oh, there's a bear. Shotgun. Ooh.
Fortunately, it's Charlie Bear, and that is funny.
Yeah, it's you decided to play rock scissors shotgun with the bear, and the bear is like, "I'm out."
So speaking of that, like the local Facebook groups are all awash with people from California who've moved here and are outraged that a mountain lion ate their kitten off of their porch. And they're like, yeah, our cat was outside at 4 a.m. and now there's a bunch of fur here and we saw the lion running off. And I'm like, that's what you get for leaving a cat outside in the literal wilderness.
Yes, yes.
Man. And one person was like, this was in Jim's neighborhood. They're like, you need, whoever this is, you need to take your bird feeder down because it draws in lions. And I'm like, or draws in bears. I'm like, bears are going to come whether there's a bird feeder out or not. I just got news for you. The bears live here.
Yeah. It's a pretty interesting, dynamic when you get to some of these parts of America that just people are not prepared for.
Well, here's the thing: they move here because they hated all of the overregulation of life in California, and then they're demanding that the locals create an ordinance preventing anyone from putting out a bird feeder and overregulating lives yet again. So it's just silly.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe people coming from the East Coast like me East Coast, the Midwest or whatever. Even we don't have even in the rural areas of the Midwest and the Rocky Mountain or maybe the Smoky Mountains in that area, we don't have the level of nature.
Yeah, this is literally a wilderness. It's the Bob Marshall Wilderness, right? There's literally more animals than people here, and you just got to be careful. So there's a great billboard around here that's up, and it says, "Note: if it didn't work in California, it is not going to work in Montana," and it's one of my favorite signs. So
yeah, I think it's a great way to. I mean, just look what's happening in California. I mean, like I have not followed in detail what the hell's going on, but ultimately, it looks like there's an indictment in the works against Gavin Newsom and others, to maybe Karen Bass, based on not some sort of trumped up DOJ witch hunt by the Trump administration, but originating like in the Eastern District of Los Angeles and coming as whistleblowers from inside Gavin Newsom's inner circle. It sounds like there are some decent people who are tired of his fucking corruption. Maybe it's because they want to be corrupt and take over. But ultimately, however we get the bad guys out of there, I'm okay with, as long as as long as we can have something better than what they have now, because they're not governed; they're being ruled. The California is exactly what you do when you set up a state to have single party rule continuously and forever. It's literally like that's how they've engineered their laws. Somebody made the point over the weekend, Joe, that it's no longer voter fraud in California because they're literally following the law. Like with ballot harvesting and late ballots and all this kind of stuff. They've literally engineered the wall. So it's like what's voter fraud anywhere where we know about is no longer voter fraud there.
Well, Michigan did the same thing after the election where they were caught stealing things. They changed the laws so that they weren't stealing things anymore. And the Attorney General of California put out a statement the other day that admits to things, because he said the same thing that the left always says. There's no evidence of widespread voter fraud. It doesn't need to be widespread, right? Because if you carry Los Angeles County, Fulton County, Wayne
San
County,
Francisco,
and maybe one more in the U.S., you can carry the whole presidential election. And that's not widespread. It's just the biggest and most important counties. Same thing with the state. In Michigan, if you carry Wayne County, you carry the state. California, you carry Los Angeles County, you carry almost all of the state. If you carry Los Angeles and Oakland, you've got it, right? So it's crazy.
That's exactly right. All right. Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. A lot of stuff to be angry about. We don't want to get you angry per se, but we definitely want to make sure you're tracking what we're tracking. Because we can see the path to a not great future. When we say civil war, Joe, I don't want to speak for you or Watcher, but we're not talking like some sort of like patty cakes kind of situation. We're talking about some really, really deadly civil conflict. Now, ultimately, it will probably be centered in and around urban areas. So if you want the easy button, get the fuck out of cities. Find a place, way outside the exurbs to live, and stay there. Nice little piece of land, have your own garden. You get resilient in your lifestyle, make connections in the local community, get some training, and that's how you ensure against what could potentially happen in a situation.
Come out of her, my people. Leave the cities.
That's exactly right. All right, let's get into it, guys. So, one of the things that we continue to kind of rail on is the danger of Muslim colonizers in the West. And slowly but surely, we're seeing some positive moves on this, whether it's at the federal or state levels. So in this one, we're going to have a report. So basically, war on radical Islam just went nuclear.
Hi,
I don't know about that. I was like, let me just read this as a setup, and then we can play the news report here. Governor Greg Abbott just dropped a historic hammer, officially designated CARE as a foreign terrorist organization and transnational criminal syndicate under Texas law. That means they have ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, alleged Hamas links, years of playing the victim. I mean, Joe, CARE is literally the center of almost every one of these Muslim settlements in different places around the United States. They are a political action group. I don't know exactly what this is going to mean because it's only focused in Texas. And, just because you say they're terrorists doesn't mean, what are you going to shut down all their offices and arrest them? Because it sounds like you should be able to do that.
Right.
Hi, Julie. There has been a big...
Hey, yeah, go ahead and play the video, yeah.
fight here in Texas between Governor Greg Abbott and the Muslim community after he designated the largest Muslim advocacy group as a foreign terrorist organization. So in North Texas, a Muslim community leader, Marwan Maroof here, is soon going to be deported. He's been in ICE custody since September, and then just last week, an immigration judge issued him a final order of removal. Now, according to DHS, Maroof is from Jordan and overstayed his visa. They shared, quote, Maroof was denied a lawful permanent resident visa due to his involvement with a foundation that provided material support for Hamas, a designated foreign terrorist organization. The Council of American Islamic Relations, known as CARE, has been fighting for Maroof's release, describing him as a pillar of the community. Well, Texas Governor Greg Abbott responded to this on X. He said, quote, this is another example of CARE Texas's support for Hamas and terror. Abbott designated the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE as foreign terrorist organizations earlier this month. He said, quote, the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE have long made their goals clear: to forcibly impose Sharia law and establish Islam's mastership of the world. The actions taken by the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE to support terrorism across the globe and subvert our laws through violence, intimidation, and harassment are unacceptable. CARE Texas fired back with a lawsuit against Abbott, and community leaders together held a press conference urging him to retract his proclamation, calling it defamatory and dangerous.
This designation is unconstitutional, unsupported by any credible factual basis, and represents bigotry on its face. It stigmatizes an entire community and chills the First Amendment rights of Muslim Texans and all organizations engaged in lawful advocacy.
Can we put that guy back on the screen for a second?
Yeah. I want to pause too. Go ahead.
So, if I'm going to go on TV and tell everyone that calling me a terrorist is defamatory, I should probably do my best to not look exactly like a stereotypical terrorist. Shave the jihadi beard. Do something, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Joe, like you've got no proof that CARE has ever done anything. I mean, I'm sure you could just kind of go on, because these guys are a fucking cancer.
There are lots
America.
of cases in Metro Detroit of credit card fraud where some of the funds went to CARE and Access and some of the other Arab community services or Islamic service organizations, knowing full well that money was going to end up in the hands of Hezbollah and Hamas. I've been involved in several cases of that. And Phil Coggins mentions it, the Holy Land Foundation trial. CARE ran Holy Land Foundation. So 100%. And what's funny is they don't deny the allegations. They just say it's defamatory, it's mean, it paints us with a broad brush, but they don't say, no, we don't give money to Hamas. They don't say that because it can be proven that they do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And they're tied directly to the Muslim Brotherhood on many levels. All right. I think we're good on this clip. It's just kind of reportage after that. Anything else, Watcher? You got any thoughts? All right, nothing heard.
Oh well, should have been done a long time ago, and
yeah,
it's very interesting to see. I want to know what the shift was higher up in the GOP that made this happen, because up until not very long ago, we were being preached at that we had to welcome our Muslim brothers with open arms, and now today there's a story about some Muslim crying about having gone to the GOP and been told, go the fuck home.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you're not welcome here, essentially.
I think that Greg Abbott just read the room in Texas and saw that their open arms policy was literally poisoning the next 5 elections in Texas, and decided he had to say or do something. So.
Well, it's funny that you should mention that. Based on the recent elections that we saw with the primary, where what was it, the former AG in Texas won by a pretty significant majority over an incumbent. I feel like there is definitely a movement for this kind of direction of policy, especially in places like Texas. So I think you're right on the money there, Joe. And I just hope it continues, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, Paxton, thank you. Yeah, and Abbott is a coward. He is always a kind of a go along to get along guy. He's not even like print. So like, I don't think John Cornyn and I don't think Tom Tillis and I don't think Thune are principled, right? They're just old school GOP rhinos, essentially rhino lights, right? But the problem is that they don't represent where we are as a party anymore. I mean, they are literally where we are. They were the Bob Dole generation of fucking Republicans, right? And that time is over. And so I really think that like those guys have a point of view. I'm not saying that they're bad people, but they're probably bad people. But like Abbott's not even that. Abbott's just a conservative, like blows with the wind, right? If the wind goes MAGA or America first, then he goes MAGA and America first. And, because nobody was pushing back on Epic or any of these fucking Muslim or Indian, compounds within, he thought they were fine, right? Because he's not discerning enough to be able to see where the threats come from with these groups. Abbott funded putting migrants on buses from Texas to New York to kill Americans in another part of the U.S. Now, I'll be honest with you. That is, within the context of the Biden White House, I think that was actually okay because that's all he could do against the federal government, who was basically putting those people in Texas. But that being said, you're right. I mean, like he is a douche, generally speaking, because he doesn't have a spine, and that's not why he's in a wheelchair, because he doesn't have a spine. There's another reason for that. All right. Anything else on that, guys? I think we pretty much covered it.
No, that's it.
Nothing heard. Let's move on, Watcher. So this next one, let's just let the man speak for himself. He got his deal, apparently, but
I'll not only release it, I'll probably have a press conference and read it to you word by word, so that the press covers it accurately, because it's a very important document, and unlike Obama, who could have destroyed the Middle East with a horrible JCPOA, it is the worst agreement. That was a road to a nuclear weapon. Mine is a wall against a nuclear weapon. I mean, I see these people say, but we already had one. That was the worst. He paid a fortune for it. We paid nothing. But
thoughts on that, gentlemen? I mean, he finally got his deal.
Look at me, I'm the greatest. It's fantastic. But then his very next statement does kind of go against the fact that maybe we don't actually have a deal. So.
Yeah, I think there is some there's some realization within the White House that ultimately they can only trust Iran as far as they can throw them. You know what I mean? Which ain't very far. Which is shocking, but Joe, I think we came to that conclusion fucking years ago, probably decade. I mean, this shouldn't be shocking to anyone.
Yeah. It's Iran being Iran, so
yeah, exactly right. Watcher.
I mean, I've made what I think about this pretty clear for a long time, which is there is no negotiation with these people. Like it's literally a waste of air to talk to them unless you're trying to use the words for other purposes. Which I don't know, man. Doesn't seem like that's what's happening here, but it could be.
Yeah.
It could very well be that they're trying to drive a wedge between the administration over there using whatever fake peace deal this is. But it looks to me more like they decided, we're 4 months out from an election. Despite what we have said about doing what's right rather than what's electable, we're going to run away with our tail between our legs. And this is gonna fucking suck. Although, again, I don't want to say too much about it because I don't know, because I haven't seen the deal and neither has anyone else. what is being said about it seems like it's probably not great.
Yeah, there's it's basically trust me, bro, at this point.
Exactly. No, like literally all sides of it. Trump is saying trust me, bro. The media is saying trust me, bro. I don't trust either of those people, to be very honest.
You know who's
with you.
not saying anything about it whatsoever? Iran.
Well, they are. They're saying a lot of shit, but all the shit they're saying is basically the same shit they always say.
My point is, they're not saying anything about we've agreed to anything at all.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So before we continue on, let's go to the next one because it's more of him from the G7.
Is the text of the agreement now final, or are you still?
No, it's not final. It's a memorandum of understanding, and if I don't like it, we'll go back to shooting at them, dropping bombs on their
When do
head.
you expect the word?
If I don't like it, if they don't behave, we'll go right back to dropping bombs right smack in the middle of their head. Okay? Because they've misbehaved for 47 years. All right?
We got that
But
right.
nobody could have made this deal. I mean, the JCPOA done by Obama, he handed him $1.7 billion in cash, gave him hundreds of millions of dollars, gave him billions and billions of dollars, but he gave him $1.7 billion in cash, green cash from banks, into a Boeing 757 and flew it into Iran. And they stood at the plane. I have pictures of it, like, oh my, look at this money he's giving us. He tried to bribe his way out. I didn't do that. Nobody mentions that. 1.7 billion and hundreds of millions of dollars. They tried to bribe their way out of it. And you know what the Iranians did? They laughed at Obama and they said he's a stupid son of a bitch.
So this is the second time in a row he's been asked a question about what he's doing, and he's talked about what Barack Obama did.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's until we know exactly what's on that MOU, it's still trust me, bro. So
Well, kind of, except for, like, here's the deal. No matter what's on the MOU, we know who's on the other side of the MOU. So what does the MOU fucking matter?
Well, so that stops becoming as important if Trump literally does what he just said and says, if you go out of line at all, we just start dropping bombs again, right? Until you say uncle again, and then we'll go back.
Mean
and
out
we'll
of
see
line,
how many,
like getting caught mining the streets again while we were in the middle of peace talks?
Yes, whatever it may be, right? And so, like, you just can't treat
No,
these
I mean the
people
things
like
that we already caught them doing and did nothing about. Like,
Well,
not nothing about it. We stopped the attack itself, but then there was no...
Well, yeah, I don't know that we did nothing, but the point is that he seems to think that you can trust these people to make a deal at all. And that's the thing that frustrates me, is that, like, if you want them to do something, it has to be basically with the gun to the head kind of technique.
This
right?
is the frog and scorpion writ large, right? We're the frog in that scenario. Iran is a scorpion, right? And we just continue to trust the scorpion to not be a scorpion. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, Heimdall. He's basically trying to score a win before the midterms. Yeah, the one thing that I don't like about this is that I feel for the civilians in Iran that rose up against the government early in the year, and I don't know how he's taking care of them with this, and it makes me think that he's not. In point of fact, right? So fuck, I don't know, man.
I forgot to ask this earlier. Did you cover Derna's $5 Rumble rant?
I haven't yet. I've got it like open right in front of me.
Well, it was relevant to the earlier discussion. That's why I.
Yeah. Derna for $2 for $5 says only the frosting of the cake contains poison, but the cake is not poisonous. Yeah. Therefore, the cake is not poisonous.
Yeah, that's on the care thing, right? 100%. That's a great way to put it. So.
But that's the irony there is that that's true about this MOU as well.
It is. It is.
Okay. All right, Derna, Doritos comment of the show. Thank you. All right, moving on. You just got that. Why is it that every time there's a swastika or a burning cross or something like that, it turns out to be a non-white leftist who is trying to make a point?
Because there's no real neo-Nazis in America. There's like 13 of them, maybe total.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly.
And
right.
most of those guys are.
And two of them killed themselves.
Yeah.
Two of them killed themselves last month. So I mean, we're down 25% on neo Nazis after that car suicide. All right, let's listen to this chucklehead.
I don't want to wait until he may or may not get impeached. I want him gone right now.
On that video, are you threatening him?
No.
You say that you think that he should be brought to an end.
I said he deserves to stand trial to the American people. Some paraphrase, I guess, but
I think you use the word end.
That's what I mean by end. I mean by end, I don't mean like a civil war. If that's the
he thinks you're talking about
the imagery that you're trying to imagine.
Lou says he built this cross after carrying wooden slats from his near West Side apartment to Grant Park last Tuesday afternoon. He showed the red ball cap that he...
Okay, this is so fucking obviously... I got caught, so here's my backstory. Here's my backup story.
Yeah.
Y'all are probably wondering how I got here.
Right? Yeah. And did he yell, "This is MAGA country" when he set it on fire? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
So he mentions the red hat. Remember the shooting in Kentucky, or no, the Nashville shooting, where she went into the church school. She was also wearing a red hat and camouflage pants. They were trying to convey a different image, right? Trying to make things appear as though it's right-wing violence when it's always left-wing.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see. I don't know what more this guy has to say. Let's see.
Put on the top beam and used lighter fluid and toilet paper to get it all going.
I put a red hat to signify the MAGA hat, the Make America Great Again hat. So that was, that's what I tied on top.
So that's not visible in the one video that was taken by a motorist.
Lou says he was protesting what he calls MAGA Christian nationalist supporters and the Trump administration ruling class.
Wait a second. Hold on a second. Push pause. I thought that the UFC 250 people who wanted to kill Donald Trump and kill a lot of service members were Christian nationalists. I mean, which side of these Christian nationalists, quote unquote, that don't exist, what side are they on?
I want to point something out here, and this is something I talk about all of the time, and we're going to be talking about it again when we talk about the UFC plot, is that I believe that there is a group in the FBI that looks for people of a certain mental capacity to steer in a direction. This kid meets all those indicators. Notice his complete lack of eye contact, his inability to express himself in person to another human being. He has all the indicators of someone who is very easily suggestible and driven towards a path because he wants approval and he wants to be liked. He's even trying to get this guy to like him and believe his story. So this kid is easily manipulable. And like Karen points out, is he smiling? Yeah, he's proud of his plot because he did what someone asked him to do, right?
Yeah, this is exactly what you would call a useful idiot, you know?
Exactly. This kid is, I say it every time, but watch The Bourne Legacy when he talks about the mass shooting in the laboratory. They wound him up and set him off. They point someone at a target, give him an idea, and send him out to do it. That's literally what the SPLC has been caught doing, right?
Yeah. That's exactly right. All right, I think we've seen enough. I don't want to listen to this nose breathers droning on. Speaking of drones, this next story is kind of like, you don't say. ICE just caught a commander of 2 foreign terrorist organizations living in a small North Carolina town. And he was holding his own wife hostage. His name is Felipe del Aquila, a commander of the PCC and Comando Vermelho, 2 largest criminal empires in Brazil, both designated foreign terrorist organizations. When federal agents moved in, he ran, leading them on a high-speed chase that ended with when he crashed into stopped traffic. They're literally terrorist commanders hiding out in small towns in the South. Good question, Joe. Why isn't this the number one story in America on a day like today? I mean, I didn't know about the story. I looked it up independently just to verify that it was true, and evidently it's pretty much exactly how he says it. What was your take on this?
Well, the Red Command or whatever it is has been a group for a very long time in Brazil. Been a bad group, anti-government, anti-everything, and yeah, it doesn't surprise me that he's living here. We've got a lot of Brazilians who live here, and they just like everywhere else, they cross back and forth between the borders. If I was leading a criminal organization in Brazil, a fairly advanced country with a pretty good law enforcement arm, I'd probably hide out in America, the one place nobody would look for me. Right.
And the last 4 years, it was pretty damn easy to get in and out of America, And if you've got the resources this guy has, he probably has a fake passport and like everything he needs to travel essentially legally.
Yeah, and these guys are Brazil's version of cartels. They run drugs in the favelas. They terrorize the people who live there and essentially become the government in these favelas. And not good dudes, man.
Yeah, let me remind the folks also that not only I think that not only did they find this guy, but a lot of the Mexican cartel families, actually, the kids and the wives, and they're all growing up in America, and many of them are
way safer.
U.S. citizens because they were born here, and so that's their version of dreamers, right?
The Dernis trying to ruin my love of Brazilian steakhouses. Just pretend you're Portuguese or open a Brazilian grill and no one will ever suspect you. Look, man, I like going to my Brazilian steakhouses. Please don't ruin that for me. Now I'm going to think it's terror front.
Gentlemen, I interrupt this message to bring you a short, unrelated meme that I found funny enough not to share with you. It's 1600. And they mentioned early release.
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this time. No, not this time. It's totally made up.
That's good.
And the platoon sergeant, PSG, yeah.
Platoon sergeant. Okay, I've never seen it shortened that way before. Good deal.
Yeah, it's a position, not a rank, so.
So I just got a text message from a young man who I teased last night because he has a board like this one in his house. And every week when we do my Bible study, my patch is right in the middle of it. So last night at the end of Bible study, I was like, hey, man, I can see Matt's patch up there on your wall, but what happened to mine? He was like, it's in my car, man, I promise. And he just sent me a picture of it in his car. Good on you, Cody. Well done.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. I
love how our viewers know to be scared of this because they might end up being in a class with you at some point.
Right? And ironically, he also had a CFC patch on his wall, so that's always
looking at your patch board there, it reminds me of all of my swag. I've got, this is one of my plaques or whatever, from that I just recently got. And today we did a retirement lunch, and I got my retirement plaque. And of course, they had to take it back to the shop because of, the back was falling off, and then the ribbons were out of order.
Oh,
and the captain.
It was made by the U.S. government, is what you mean? Yes.
No. It was made by
local
Odyssey.
contractor.
exactly right. And
Yeah.
like even my wife called him up and was like, "What the fuck?" You know, like, in Korean, right? Which sounds way spicier.
Look, you don't want a Korean woman mad at you at all.
No.
The only thing that would be worse would be a Latina with a knife in her hand. So you'd be in bad shape.
But somebody mentioned to me, they said, "Sir, what are you going to do with all your coins?" You know, because like I've got like 3 like gallon Ziploc bags full of coins, right, that I've collected over the years, and so, that's another thing I got to think about, getting something with all my coins in it.
I can make
or
you
maybe
wreck
like
that.
I don't know, like a desktop, maybe, like a glass top on my for my
that'd be
desk,
cool.
and
I've always liked the display rack so that you can put them behind your.
I'm gonna see ultimately where I end up, and in the house that I end up going to. So
I'm calling DHS and saying that Colonel McCullough is attempting to smuggle more than $10,000 in foreign currency into the U.S.
That's like no, these are just a coin collection. That's not real gold.
Durham makes a great comment. Mrs. McCullough went from Mama San to Dragon Lady real fast.
Well, you're not wrong. C. Westby says they sent it back because there weren't enough anime waifus on Scott's retirement plaque. Here's the funny thing: I have seen a plaque with an anime waifu on it. So
good lord.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I did have a staff sergeant that probably would have been accurate for.
All right, let's we got a super chat here. Let's J Sam for $5 says outdoorsman book suggestion, Man-Eaters by Kunaman, Man-Eaters of Kunaman by Jim Corbett. Jim documents his hunts for man-eaters who claimed hundreds of victims. That's crazy, man. Those are those kind of like real outdoors books that,
That's actually the second time I've seen that. I saw that original recommendation by H. John Poole in one of his books. So if H. John Poole recommends things, so yeah.
Yeah. You're always going to learn something from those types of books, you never know what it's going to be.
The point of where H. John Poole was going is that you learn a lot about outdoor skills and tracking and things like that from stories like that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And Jay Clark, no, it wouldn't be an anime waifu if it was Cav Anna Stan, whatever his name is. It would be Anna Kendrick. That's all. And I'm just gonna say, Cav, that's a little creepy.
Happy Tank Day at your local Starbucks. Yeah. If you know, Starbucks had to close down for a full day here in Korea because they called their like Stanley Cup style, they called them tanks, and there was, because it was military, I don't know, it was a really weird controversy that I didn't quite, my wife explained it to me and I was like, huh, like who cares, and of course somebody cares. If you're interested, you can look that up. All right, thanks a lot. Thanks for the memories. All right, here we go. Joe, you want to talk a little bit about tactical-wisdom.com?
Sure. We have community security ops coming up this weekend. Got a few people signed up for it. We could use some more. If anybody's free, wants to just come and hang out.
Yeah, that's one of those good ones that is very useful.
It's very relevant, and there are people in Seattle and Portland trying to run their own checkpoints and roadblocks now. And we can teach you how to do that. We can teach you how to deal with civil unrest in your area, teach you how to patrol your area and protect it. But it's a really good class, community security ops. It's pretty popular. And then next weekend, I'm doing a basics of pistols just for women. And we've got some good local interest on that. It's a one-day class where we go over all the basic stuff. Like this is a handgun. This is how they work. This is how you take them apart. This is how you pick one out for you. Then we go shoot them. And then we teach you how to clean them. So it's everything basic about it. Not some cool guy combat class, but hey, this is real basic stuff. Then we start rolling into classes around our event. It's already that close.
Yeah.
July 10th through 12th, we're going to do combatives, 3 days of unarmed self-defense. Well, and armed self-defense, but good stuff. Right after that, protective services concepts. You want to learn how to protect someone in public. It'll be a good class for that. Then we're back to community security apps again because there has been a lot of requests for that during the Mountain Readiness timeframe. Mountain Readiness falls in the middle there, July 24th through the 26th. Then the day after that, I'm running a 1-day defensive pistol class. Just come and learn how to defend yourself. That one's going to have a little bit more advanced stuff in it. We're going to talk about drawing from cover, doing reloads, and using cover and all that kind of stuff. So come check out all these classes. Also in the middle of all that, July 18th and 19th, there are still 2 seats left for War Lizard Tactical's defensive handgun course here. So get registered and come on out to do this stuff. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's a good, all good stuff there. I'm looking. I think people are starting to wake up a little bit too with a lot of this stuff that seems to be hitting a little harder at home. So I hope we can translate that into people who are willing to get out there to class, meet some of your mutuals, and if you're not mutuals, find new mutuals. That are actually out there.
I'll say is the best times I've had in the last several years is getting out and meeting these people that I befriended on X or whatever, and just getting out and getting to know each other, spending that face-to-face time together. Like, I know that Josh Clark wears flannel and drives a Subaru, but he's not a lesbian. Well, I suppose technically he is, but it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, let's do the brush beater ad here. I got it queued up. All right. In the midst of shocking new UK rape gang reports exposing years of systemic failure and cover-ups, while America edges closer to the nightmare of a possible civil war with deepening political divisions and rising violence, the warning signs are flashing red. When societies fracture and normal communication collapses, you need independent tools to stay connected and protect what matters. Brushbeater Store has you covered with the AR-152 Pro, a rugged, high-performance handheld radio built like a tank with 10-watt tri-power output, massive 1,200 milliamp battery, built-in GPS and APRS tracking, expanded frequency coverage, including airband and multiple antennas for superior range when cell service dies or gets jammed. Back it up with the RTO course, hands-on no BS training that teaches you how to build real signals operating instructions, manage frequencies under pressure, and run secure group comms in a high-threat environment. Get the AR-152 Pro at brushbeater.store/product/AR-152-Pro or enroll in the RTO course at brushbeater.store/collection/training. Use code CFC10 for 5% off all radios, accessories, and courses. Orders over $150 shipped for free. Big thanks to Matt and Brushbeater Store for powering the Council on Future Conflict. As the UK rape gang scandals continue, America faces a growing risk of civil war. Head to brushbeater.store, enter code CFC10, and build the connected security presence your community needs. Now, back to the program.
Hold on. I have something breaking. Watcher, yes. I just sent it to the CFC chat, and this applies to the commercial segment because this might be something commercial we need to check out. Is it in there?
You got
yet?
it, Watcher?
Yes.
Oh, look at this. A shotgun?
I thought we saw this before.
No, I've never seen this.
Boys, I don't know who out there is looking for a birthday gift idea for me because I do have a birthday coming up. But that's it right there. A belt-fed shotgun. It could definitely help me defend this camp from bears and both the actual wild kind and the Mark Sibley type and and Antifa. Boy, I need one of those.
Here's a breaking story. I guess this is within the last hour, so since the show started. President Trump has invoked the Defense Production Act to allow Secretary of War to shore up munition supply chains for critical parts such as motors, igniters, and guidance systems.
Boy, at least once a month we hear Trump has invoked the Defense Production Act. But we also heard it during Biden. The Defense Production Act is an insidious piece of legislation that you should be opposed to.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
The Defense Production
I,
Act is how they went to Ford and made them build a bunch of respirators that we never used instead of vehicles.
yeah. So that's actually when it's not used, for the intended purposes. But I get the feeling this is an admission that our magazines are a lot more empty than we'd like to admit.
Okay, but let me just rephrase something. We are the United States of America, and we're supposed to believe in certain things here. That we have a piece of legislation that can suddenly change our entire government into a straight up communist state where the government dictates every action that a business can do, can force pricing, and can take away things that you have stored for your family's own use. It is not a good thing ever. Just because it has ancillary good effects doesn't make it a good piece of legislation. Under that law, you can be declared a hoarder just for being a guy who stores food and ammo.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now just to try to figure out exactly what they're targeting here. So it says, in particular, systemic constraints in the munition industrial base, including limited production capacity, fragile supply chains, long lead dependencies, and related production bottlenecks that may impair the ability for the United States to produce, sustain, or expand their availability of munitions. I hereby delegate voluntary agreements to provide for the voluntary agreements and plans of action to help provide national defense. Okay, I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly what we're doing. It doesn't really say a lot to me here.
That's the best thing about the DPA. You can be very vague in your wording and still use it.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to use this to increase, like, say, rare earth production here in the U.S. where we don't have a lot of rare earth refinement. I don't know.
Lipstick
All right. Anyway, it is what it is. So very interesting. By the way, one other thing that I want to bring up, Watcher, I'm going to drop the link here in the chat. This is I want to shout out for a council regular, Blaine Pardoe's new book, Best of the Worst, in the Chisholm Black Sheep series, the Best of the Worst. It's part of the Land and Sea universe, where my graphic novel took place. And so he just says thanks to all the sci-fi fans. Keep it on the bestseller list. If you haven't checked this one out or any of the other Land and Sea books, I highly recommend Blaine Pardoe's Land and Sea books. It's like top tier military sci-fi in a kind of a near future world challenged by, oddly enough, underwater aliens. Huh? It's like this guy is fucking psychic or something. And if you haven't checked out any of the other books in this series, I would recommend you do it. I know, Watcher, you've read them. Joe, we've got. I want to say there is a Joe Dolio-esque character in this series too, but I can't. I don't quote me on that. I can't remember. I don't. No purebloods in this one for sure, though.
No, but he did ask me some very pointed questions to flesh out a character. So yes.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot of Marines in this, and I know he talked to you early on about some Marine stuff, and I'm sure there is a little Joe Dolio spiritual connection for sure. All right, let's move on to our main topic for today, which is the upcoming Civil War. We're going to talk a little bit about the UFC bombing. I got a little overview here that I wanted to read. So, because there are two takes, right? I think ultimately on this, right? There is the kind of the mainstream media kind of take, and we'll hear that here in a second with this video. And then there are other kind of, there's the government, what they're saying, and then there are, like, you have to be skeptical about anything like this because it rhymes too much with things that have happened in the past. So
first of all, this guy looks like he's about to play the lead in a new Dracula movie. I just throwing it out there.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All right, let's hear what he has to say.
Images. The first image, I believe, that we're going to show is a rifle that belonged to her.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to say first thing off, dude was obviously fucked in the head. He was using bullpups. Next.
Son,
Yeah,
according
right.
to authorities. The other is a screen
Is this
grab.
is this a Tavor or is this a is this that that the Croatian one, that Springfield Armory? I can't.
I'm just gonna bet the Croatian one based off the dude's stated politics.
Well, I don't think that has anything
maps
to do
of the
with it,
Washington D.C. area.
You don't think him? Never mind.
And discussing where snipers possibly would be related.
I mean, because it's a Springfield
the
Arms.
White House. This
is the one that imports
evidence
it.
that is posted on an official court docket right now, an official government document. But I will say 19-year-old Tyson Proper's mother called police after she was concerned about his purchases and communications with people online. It then led them to conversations that he allegedly had with someone named Brian Roa and Michael Thomas in Southern California. They appeared yesterday before a federal judge. We're also told that there is a suspect in Nebraska and one in Missouri as well. So what we're being told here, Kaylee and everyone on the couch, is that this alleged plot consisted of a plan to have drones that were actually armed
that's a shotgun,
with some type of...
What's that?
That is a 12-gauge magazine right there. That's a shotgun.
Is it?
I want to point out that it appears as though this was honestly, when you're looking at all this, it looks like a bunch of people who were just in a chat group fan fictioning along. And I'm sorry, I don't see any actual concrete steps taken towards this. So,
with some type of firepower, go and attack buildings around
yeah,
the White House.
BP-12 Panzer Arms. That's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Once people left, they were going to have snipers nearby attacking some of the people leaving. This was a serious plot. The FBI, the Secret Service investigating this right now. And as you heard the deputy director of the Secret Service right there say that they believe there are more people out there. Right now, though, 5 people facing these charges. And it's incredible to go through.
She shakes her
these
head right on
documents and
cue.
see what happened. But it appears that it was this 19-year-old's mother in Ohio who really spilled the beans on this entire case by letting people know that she had some concerns about her son, Kaylee.
Thank goodness that mom did that. And that 19-year-old is the one I mentioned who was alleged to use his graduation money to purchase these weapons. Wow, David, thank you for this update.
Thanks, Kaylee.
All right. So
that's how you know it's lying. There's
Jeff.
no way that kid graduated high school. But anyway, this really doesn't seem to be an actual developed course of action. It seems like people were just talking.
Yeah.
But I want you to know that the story is the point. Just like you said, there's more of them out there. And what are they painted these people as? Christian nationalists, anti-Israel, pro-Epstein list. In other words, all of the things that we talk about. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the irony here is that the type of person that would be into the things that what he's talking about are the kind of, if they are painted as conservatives, they're the kind of conservatives we don't like, right? You know, it's like the, dim Jews, types, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so there is that. And I think there are some other things that basically point if these guys are real, it points them less towards like MAGA conservatives and more towards national socialistic, authoritarian, even potentially like neo-Nazi
the Patriot
style.
Front.
Right. Exactly right.
Reverend Bronco asked the important question. My question is, how many of these co-conspirators are feds, right? The Whitmer kidnapping. That's true. And by the way, Reverend Bronco, it's the first time I've seen you on here. Hey, man, right there is your patch up on the wall. So it's hidden behind my big head, but you are on the wall, brother.
Joe, I think Wander Ways got you here. You said it. I don't think that guy graduated high school. She says, well, with the standards now,
that's true.
Graduating
That
high
is
school.
true. That is true.
Right. Pretty much a ham sandwich could graduate high school. All right, let me give you guys a kind of a different narrative that you're not going to hear on the mainstream media. All right, so skepticism is warranted here, drawing parallels to past cases like the Michigan Wolverine Watchman militia plot. That's the kidnapping of Governor Whitmer, and others such as post 9/11 or entrapment adjacent domestic terror cases. In those defense arguments and reporting highlighted heavy FBI informant roles, sometimes initiating, funding, or aggressively pushing plans that may not have materialized. Otherwise, critics argue this constituted entrapment or overreach in several of these cases. So, in the UFC cases, here are some kind of points of parallel, right? The plot sophistication, coordinated drones, snipers, escape plans. Let's contrast that with the young age of this guy right here, 19 years old. And apparent online TikTok origins. How operational were they really? Or were they just talk that escalated in the chats, right? Reliance on mother's tip and one suspect's post-arrest admission after hospitalization is convenient for authorities, but invites scrutiny about interrogation context and or inducement online. Encrypted apps and leader identification are common in these plots, but history shows informants can drive conversations, suggest tactics, or keep plots alive to build the case. Timing, foiled right before the symbolically charged high security event, i.e. UFC 250 event, announced prominently by the FBI director. This fits patterns where threats are amplified for optics, especially amidst polarized politics. Broader context. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
They're trying to paint them as right wing, but when you look at this, a signal chat was created between a group of 23 users with the goal being to target capitalist elites, billionaires, or politicians receive donations from AIPAC. Those are all left-wing talking points.
Yeah, so these guys seem to me, based on the evidence that I've seen, these guys seem to me to fall more into the kind of the ANCAP, Boogaloo Boys.
Hold on. Did you just call guys calling for socialism ANCAPs? I think you're a little confused here, man.
I don't see them calling for socialism.
No, I don't mean like anarcho-capitalism. I mean like anti-capitalism, Yeah. Sorry. I transposed the two things.
And the most surprising thing out of this whole thing is that kid is only 19 years old. Dude looks like he's 35 on his second wife and third factory job.
He graduated high school like 25 years ago.
I knew a kid who went bald when he was 16, but he pulled it off. You know what I mean? Like, he leaned into it and like actually did something with his life. This dude, oh shit, man. Like, a lot of people have said, well, now I see why he wanted to do it.
All right. Anyway, so I think, right now we don't know. Ultimately, we don't know because it's too early to really have a lot of facts. And then here's the thing. When the facts start coming out, you have to then be able to, who's watching the watchers, right? And, this is the same FBI that did all the shit against Trump and against the Republicans during the Biden years, right?
Speaking of, I would like to offer my slightly different but pretty much the same theory. I don't think this was a setup. I think this was a concerned mom. Basically what Joe's saying, it was a bunch of dudes that were talking and a concerned mom and an FBI trying to literally use any case it can to try and prop up its own credibility.
And this is why you don't have these conversations in Signal. First of all, Signal is compromised. It is private, not secure. But so they had this group, but they're all making this alleged plan on there. All of a sudden, somebody new gets added to the chat and starts pointing you in a more specific direction and picks out a date and event. Now, all of a sudden, you're guilty of a crime, right?
Yeah.
Listen, meet people in real life. And if you're going to have spicy conversations, save them for around the campfire with your fellow crazy people, not us normal people, right? And don't have them online in any form.
Yeah, it's interesting.
American Dreamer has broken the case wide open. His mom works at the circus as the bearded lady, and that explains everything about this guy all of a sudden.
Well, here's my question, Joe. All right. So they have this big plan. How many plane tickets did they buy? How much money did they raise in order to buy plane tickets? Or what was their road trip plan? Right? Did they have you know what I mean? Like, these are the types of things that you would have to do to operationalize a plan like this.
For
Otherwise,
example, when they arrested Enrique Tarrio, they waited for him to fly to Washington, D.C. to actually take a step along the route of his alleged conspiracy that he was told to set up by the FBI, by the way. But they waited for him to take an actual concrete step, which is required to prove conspiracy. These guys just talking on a signal group is not a conspiracy until someone takes a real world action towards the furtherment of it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're 100% on. All right. Let's go. Anything else on the UFC bombing?
In a foiled terror attack at
go ahead.
past weekend's UFC Freedom event are from California. The FBI identify them as Michael Allen Thomas and Brian Omar Roa. We don't know exactly where in California they are from. 5 people were arrested for allegedly planning to use drones with explosives to hit buildings near the event, forcing people to run towards a pre-staged sniper team. 2 of the men arrested.
I'm just gonna make a guess here. Inland Empire and fucking Bakersfield.
These guys couldn't run a trip to the bar, let alone an actual complex attack. And when you look at the attack plan, I'm sorry, but it's not the way they actually unfold in real life. It's something that someone who sits in a cubicle would come up with, or gamers would come up with sitting around BSing in a group chat, as opposed to anyone who has actually ever done any sort of a kinetic operation in the real world, right? And great point. I am Uncle Bob. How many drones did they seize? None.
0. Right. Yeah. This is where it's kind of like, okay, these plans are great or whatever, and they may have absolutely come up with these plans. And hell, they may have come up with these plans all on their own. But how much actual steps towards execution did they take? Because if they didn't own any drones, if all he has is a fucking semi-automatic shotgun and a plate carrier, I mean, this does not make a fucking plot. I want to, like I said, I want to see concrete plans I'm gonna drive here and then pick you up, Jim Bob, and then we'll drive together and we'll meet up with Rob and Jason and Luke once we get there, right? And like, if you do that, then that starts to smell a lot like a real plot, not some sort of fantasy land in the chat rooms.
And listen, there's already been a lot of talk since this thing came out about, you know what? It's time to severely regulate the purchase and ownership of drones. Anything that immediately leads to a call for more control, you should be suspect of. And let me address something, because a question has come up in the chat. No, Donald Trump didn't have anything to do with this. He didn't have any idea about this. But do I think the FBI took advantage of some people having a silly conversation and decided to make something out of it that wasn't necessarily there? Sure, these guys might very well hate the elites and hate capitalists and want to bring them down. But I don't believe they had the capability. And the FBI, just like they did in Michigan, all of a sudden started providing people the capability and gave them a concrete action plan, and then decided to arrest these people for it. That's not actual criminal investigation. The ideation has to begin, and the first steps have to begin with the suspect.
Yeah, so Jim actually makes a good point here. Doesn't purchasing the things that they said they're going to buy constitute step in furtherance of the conspiracy? Right. Like,
if the item is only available for the exclusive use of that conspiracy. For example, me saying, we should do this attack with a rifle, and I already have a rifle that I use for other things.
Yeah,
that's
then
not a
it's-
step in furtherance.
But if I
of
don't have a
conspiracy.
drone and we say, hey, we need to buy 5 drones, then okay, so you never owned any drones, then all of a sudden you say you need to buy 5 drones to do X plot, and then you go buy 5 drones, then that is where it becomes like a material.
So the
portion of
purchasing
the
things is a
conspiracy.
slippery slope that the FBI got smacked on the January 6th thing, because they claimed that purchasing a tactical backpack or a
Yeah.
balaclava mask was evidence of criminal intent. And that's not true. Now, buying them and then taking them into the Capitol might very well have been, or as I say, showing up at a protest wearing a gas mask is proof. But we have to be really careful of just saying that purchasing guns and ammo is furtherance of a conspiracy, because an awful lot of us don't trust the government. We buy guns and ammo. If we're
Right.
going to buy the argument that buying guns and ammo and not liking the government and wanting something to be done about it is evidence of a crime, then an awful lot of folks are suddenly guilty of a crime.
Yeah,
We have to require something more than the mere purchasing of items.
All right. Let us.
I'm sorry, American Dreamer, you missed my evidence of FBI involvement. The FBI were the ones who were told about it. Then there was an investigation, and then they were all arrested. The FBI was involved from start to finish. I don't understand the question.
Yeah.
I'm not saying these people aren't real and they didn't have this intent, but I'm saying they didn't come up with this idea on their own, and they did nothing to actually further it.
Yeah. See, the problem is if the FBI shows up in your chat room if you have a I hate the president chat room, right? And the FBI informant shows up in there and starts saying, hey, we should do this. And then like, oh, that's cool, and they start going on with some sort of elaborate plot. Then that doesn't mean these guys came up with a plot to attack the president or whatever. That means an FBI informant came in there and gave them a bunch of ideas, and they just, well, I thought he was fucking kidding. I mean,
exactly. That's the exact situation in the Whitmer case, and maybe American Dreamer, this will help you understand it. In the Whitmer case, there was a group of people who liked to meet in the woods and sit around a campfire and complain about Gretchen Whitmer and how much they hated her and how much they think she needed to be removed and what should happen to her. None of them had any intent of doing anything until a new guy showed up and he brought a friend. And then they said, guys, you know what we should do? We should kidnap the governor. And the people around the campfire all laughed. And then they had this conversation about how they could pull it off. None of them actually meant any of it. And then when these people started pushing them towards it, the other people all said, well, we don't have the money for that. And this guy magically pulls out a bag of money. And then they say, well, we don't have any explosives. And another guy magically pulls out a pile of explosives. That's how these groups move along, right? The FBI gets in and gives people who have no capability to do anything, all of a sudden gives them the capability. How many times has the FBI arrested a Muslim with an inert bomb? And then you go through and you start reading it, and the guy just said he hated America. Then the FBI sent him a message and said, my brother, can I send you a bomb so you can blow yourself up in Times Square? That's what we're saying.
Yeah. By the way, this is like before and after Rogaine, I guess. Or is it the other way around? I don't know.
The other way around.
He does look a lot younger without the beard and with the...
Many of you are not going to believe this, but I'm a professional type person. I'm a geek guy. I'm very good with computers. Alright, hello. Again, in the video. Alright, so...
Yeah, that's a mastermind.
I left TikTok is because of... since people say China's
well-spoken
spying on us, I don't think that, and I do think it. I believe it and don't believe it.
Yeah, to clarify, he's not the one that they're saying is the mastermind, but yeah.
You don't say. Yeah, evidently the mastermind they're talking about is the guy with the mushroom-shaped hair.
The California
that I guess, that is evidently not a U.S. citizen.
He may or may not be an illegal alien. He consented to consensual notification, or to consular notification. What that means is he is a citizen of not the United States, and he allowed them to contact the consulate to tell them that he is in custody. So we don't know if he's illegal, but we do know he is not a U.S. citizen.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, these guys are not the sharpest tools in the shed. Anything else on that, guys? I think unless we get some I eventually will probably get more information, but it's kind of hard to
point out something that goes to my point.
It.
Remember the Asian kid in the earlier video?
Yeah.
Exact same mannerisms as this kid in this video. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I think this is a problem with this generation too, though, Joe. I mean, like the
lack of actual personal contact.
Yeah, so because they're always online, they're always on their phone. You know, like they don't want to make eye contact. You know, they don't know how to have real conversations. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like guys of our generation, we can fucking talk all night, especially once you get a beer or two in us. But you know, these kids, you know, I agree and I don't agree. I believe it and I don't believe it. All right, dude, fucking what the fuck are you talking about? Feminized by the education system. Don't get me started, Derna. Autistics. That's the lazy answer. I mean, I'm with you, Wanderoy, but it's way more than that. Yeah, they were raised underground. They're mushrooms. Feed them shit.
And listen, as much as we don't want it to be true, as much as we would love the FBI to be fine, upstanding gentlemen that they used to be back in the day, the FBI has a long history of setting things like this up and then arresting people for it. A long history. All the way back to Randy Weaver, right? They will set you up, kill your kids and your wife. This is not new behavior.
All right, moving on to feds I can get behind. We've got 15 anti-ICE Antifa militants in a facing criminal charges from the DOJ. This is real federal time, not like
today a federal
local shit. So
federal indictment was unsealed, charging 15 defendants with conspiracy to impede or injure federal officers and other charges related to efforts of two Minneapolis-based Antifa groups that violently opposed the enforcement of federal law in our state. Such stalking and other direct actions against law enforcement are criminal, they're un-American, and they'll be met with swift justice. That's why we're here today. To those who choose to threaten or harm federal officers, we will hold you accountable. We will defend federal officers, we will protect the public, we will enforce the law.
So that is, I think, Deputy Attorney General. I missed his name here.
Daniel Rosen.
All right. All right. Let's move on to the next one. So this is Post-Millennial. This is a article by Andy No and another person that I don't have the name of in front of me. All right. Here we go. Now it just opened in my window. Andy No and Katie Davis Court. All right, I know her name. Department of Justice charged 15 individuals today with conspiracy to impede or injure federal officers. Just kind of what he just said. The defendants are members and associates of the Twin Cities Antifa Cell Network. The U.S. Attorney for Minnesota, Daniel Rosen, announced that the defendants are allegedly involved in the Twin Cities Direct Action, later renamed Direct Action Minnesota, or DAM. A collective that organizes anti-ICE operations across the Minneapolis area. The 94-page indictment, that's a hefty indictment. That's not nothing right there. Alleges the cell-trained extremists in the surveillance, rapid mobilization, shield tactics, blockade operations, and methods designed to interfere with federal immigration enforcement. I mean, Joe, I feel like if you're even a member of this, then you could be part of an ongoing conspiracy or even RICO charges potentially. Let's see. The indictment also identifies Black Cat Workers Collective, a Minneapolis-based Antifa affinity group, as a key component of the network. The group promotes militant tactics, physical confrontation, revolutionary political objectives, while organizing actions against ICE and law enforcement, according to prosecutors. Homeland Security investigations conducted home raids on Tuesday morning and took 12 of the 15 defendants into custody. 2 defendants remain at large, and another defendant was already in jail. The defendants have been charged with conspiracy to impede or injure federal agents and officers, alleging that they worked together from January through June of 2026 to prevent ICE and Department of Homeland Security personnel from carrying out federal. And then there's lists all their names there, and they all have fucking. Listen to these nicknames: Isaac Dido, Plotnikov, Olive Knife, let's see, Erico, Tiny, Chaos, Noob, Shatsy, Moonbear, Matt. I mean, top tier nicknames, guys. Willow Tree. That's one. So this Kyle Wagner, if you go down, he's the guy with the tattoos and says he's ready to kill agents and things like that.
My name is Kyle. I'm Antifa, and there's so much rage in me that I've had to record this like 15 times trying to get the message out.
That one.
That guy. Yes, absolutely. We don't need to listen to his bullshit. Kyle Wagner faces additional charges of solicitations to commit a crime of violence and making interstate threats. Isaac Ottman Saint and William Morgan are additionally charged with interstate stalking. Morgan is also charged with assault on a federal officer and destruction of government property. Let's see. Most of the defendants keep a low profile, like how Antifa militants are trained, but Wagner went viral this year from that post. Antifa cell development is extensive infrastructure to monitor and counter federal immigration enforcement, which documented many journalists in the Twin Cities. So these guys have built a very sophisticated network, criminal network, in order to counter federal operations in this area. Joe, isn't there something to just belonging to an organization with that kind of intent and once they've been deemed a criminal organization, is it just being a member illegal?
Well, one would think so. Yes. For example, in the Michigan case, they charged several of the members because they couldn't get them to do anything else. Charged them with gang membership for being a member of an organization that promotes violence. So you could get them on that.
I just wish they'd go after the money. Like that's usually one of the really easy ways to kind of cripple these groups. Speaking of which, aren't they basically going ham on Act Blue right now at the DOJ as far as going after Act Blue almost in its entirety? Did I misread that?
No, that's happening.
Fucking something that is way overdue.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, we never thought we would see it, even with this administration. We just thought they would gloss over that kind of shit. So, I mean, we'll see where it goes, but it's a good start.
I'm excited, but I don't know why it took this long. Well, I do know why it took this long. I'll just say that it's interesting the time frames one can assume if you assume that changes of who was leading certain departments led to Antifa actually getting prosecuted.
Well, it's almost like I mean, you could probably argue both sides of this, that like all this happened after DOJ Barbie left.
Well, it's not just her.
Yeah, right. But then the other side arguments, well, these indictments were, in the works the entire time, and
that's what you call slow walking.
Yeah,
that's what they did to him the entire last administration.
All right, let's so skip the next one. That's just more of this Rosen guy. I think we've seen enough of that. This next one is outside the federal building there in Minneapolis. Violent Antifa supporters gathered to attack the Warren E. Burger federal courthouse to possibly jailbreak their comrades who were federally indicted and had their first court hearings inside. 15 Antifa members were indicted by the DOJ for alleging violent criminal conspiracy in the Twin Cities in January related to attacking federal officials. So, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think that if you struggle to hold the door open like these people are doing, that's got to be a federal charge right there.
Well,
You're
it is. I mean, attempting to force your way into a federal building is a federal charge.
Right. So, like...
They've also been caught mapping this place out, by the way.
Yeah, by going inside, like, under...
No, the ones that got arrested and have been released have been caught going back into their signal groups and posting maps.
You're never breaking someone out of a federal lockup. I just want everyone to know that.
I think it's so funny that they're going up and taking close-up pictures of these expended, cans of bear spray and things like that.
What I think is nice is they're giving them both flavors. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like a
they got the gas
in there. Well, no, so this is the CS, and then that's the actual pepper gel. It's yellow and orange. Hooray! Now we need a fogger going to really get that picante air.
All right, let's go to the next one. I think it's more footage from a different angle of this.
Hey, Jim, I get what you're saying about the charging thing, but it happened. I can't. It's neat for you to say that, but it happened. So.
Yeah, these people all. I feel like just taking part in some of these training events would be.
I could watch that all day. Did you see that?
I know, that guy.
I was just to say.
That's a big bubble right there.
Yeah.
That's a lot of gang prosecution history says that that's not how that works, Jim.
Look at these ridiculous people with the ears on their hats and all that. How can you take them even seriously?
You can't.
I'm going to overthrow the government wearing my Eeyore hat. Cool, bro.
I mean, just, when the actual lead starts flying, I mean, where do people like this go? Like 99% of this crowd is fucking
going to
out.
the ground.
Deuces. Deuces, I'm out. I don't even want to be part of this anymore if people are shooting me.
There's a question in chat that I don't know if I should answer or not. I'm just gonna Rev Browncoat. I'm just gonna say self-hosting and leave it there.
Oh my God! Listen, so they are like not even A-tier chanters. Here's some of their. I just put it in the private chat here, Watcher.
Oh, see, I've noticed that ever since the BLM days, they've lost their ability to really do the crowd chant.
To Mexico. Palestine to Mexico. All the walls have got to go. All the walls have got to go. From Palestine
all the walls?
to Mexico. From Palestine to Mexico. All the walls have got to go.
Who reincarnated Janis Joplin?
Kindergarten?
What are you talking about? Janis Joplin actually had a creative bone in her body, at least. This gal, come on.
I like the Doc Martens, though. Very on brand.
That person arrived in a Subaru. I'm sorry, Josh.
100%. Oh, 150%.
Yeah. That's
Vanilla Ice isn't looking so good these days.
Let's see. All right, what's the next? Did you already play the next video?
Yeah. I don't know why it's there again. The actual next one is Cam Higbee.
All right, let's see this one. Oh, this is the New Jersey one, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is interesting. Evidently, somebody who works for what's his OMG,
Media.
O'Keefe Media got into the Antifa Delaney Hall signal, and
So
actually they
there were
became
two separate
admins.
groups. There was OMG Media that got in, but also Cam Higbee got in as well. And yeah, they made Cam an admin.
Which is so funny. So I have no idea like what's all in this chat or whatnot. I'm sure you could pause it and read it if you wanted to.
That's why he uploads them, is that he scans it real quick, and then if you want, you can come back through and pause it and go through it bit by bit.
Yeah, and so it very cool.
But let me point out once again that if you get into your opposition's secure comms, stop telling people about it. Continue to be in their comms and do what you got to do.
I wonder if like he posts it after it gets kind of like either he gets found out and they kill the chat, or maybe they.
No, I understand that, but from a strategic standpoint, I always want. We teach this in SIGINT and we teach this in Ground Run. I always want to leave doubt in my enemy's mind as to whether or not I'm reading their mail. Right.
Yeah.
And I would rather they doubt it and doubt their own comms rather than saying, yes, I was in it, and now you're good because you closed that group chat. I'd rather they doubt their group chat.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, because you and I have the same mindset, right? Like we see these people as enemies, and we see, lethal targeting as the ultimate ends and means for, signals intel, right? Like finding out where they are so that you can. Whereas if you're a journalist, it does make sense to,
it's
because
not
you want
a young bull thing, right?
Well, I'm also not offering this as a justification, more as this is probably their internal reasoning. Guys like us know that there are people you can bring that sort of information to that can do something with it. A lot of these journalists go, well, that would be the FBI, but I can't trust the FBI, so what can I do with it instead? Well, I guess the only thing I can do with it is tell people about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, so, and this goes to what BLT says here is kind of goes to the whole motivation of why you got in the first place. If you get in it to learn about the organization and that's it, then yeah, it never makes sense to out them. But he says they were in there for 9 months and you got to expose it at some point. Yeah, so I get that. If you're a reporter, you're getting it in order to expose who these people are.
That's the difference of focus. If I'm trying to gather strategic intelligence and counteract them, I'm not a reporter. So if I'm in there for 9 months, I'll be in there for 27 months.
Yeah, yeah. They'll literally think you're like the guy who they could always trust. Like that's but once again, it's all about what's your motivation for getting in there in the first place. So I get it why these media groups do it. But that being said,
and let's
if the
be honest,
media can do,
what has Sunlight done for it? Nothing. They're still doing it. No meaningful federal action has been taken other than the guys who broke into the FBI vehicles.
Well, I don't necessarily want to say like it's done no good. There's a lot of people who are now fighting against it that wouldn't have any idea that it was happening.
A lot of people know about it, but what is that doing on the ground? Nothing.
Did we elect Donald Trump, and are we pushing back against it the hardest we've ever pushed against it ever? Yes, we are in fact. I mean, laugh about it all you want, but that's literally something happening.
I'm gonna, because we're making a lot of show. We've arrested exactly 13 people. That's not slamming them down, right? We've arrested exactly 13
And
people.
was that a change from before that? A dramatic polar shift from anything the Republicans had ever done before that moment?
Dramatic polar shift. It is a change.
In point of fact, just to kind of correct the record here, it's more than 13 because they got all those one down in Texas, or the Antifa
13
cell
the
down there.
9 who attacked the facility.
Right,
that was an actual ambush.
Yeah,
yes,
that's right, 100%. And so there are multiple Antifa in multiple states that have been arrested. But to your point, Joe, I mean,
look at all those guys they just.
And it's not like I don't agree with
it's like arrest. I see. I guess my kind of stance in this is a little different. is that if you can mobilize young people to stand against these and to take up ideas like that we like patriotism and the Constitution and things like this in opposition against that, and people who would, if I didn't know about how stupid Antifa was, I would never have got it. Okay, so then that is good, right? That is a
let's show the video of the
good.
counter protesters. Oh,
yeah,
there weren't any because our side still has to go to work.
All right. Anyway, so speaking of counter protesters, I got a segue there. JD Vance went on The View.
Uh-oh, hold on. It's freezing. There we go.
Record. They had a sex trafficking conviction.
Don't have criminal records. The majority of people that ICE is rounding up and taking out of their homes from their families, they're separating families. They're using children as bait.
But
the majority are not criminal.
But can I respond to that, guys? Let me just say this. Okay. So
hey, Matt, how you
talk
doing?
About the children.
Good to see you.
Here's
on the
what I'd
X
say.
Account.
Do we know that during the last administration, we had tens of thousands of children who were sex trafficked by the cartels, who were brought into our country in profoundly dangerous and predatory conditions.
Let's talk about this administration.
But here's the point. Unless you enforce the border, you invite that kind of conduct. You think that our immigration policies are inhumane based on the reporting of one person with a political bias. What I'm telling you is that it's inhumane to allow cartels to sex traffic people across our border. And by the way,
Please hold on.
I appreciate that. I'm going to get you back, Anna.
We're coming back with more with the vice president.
I stand with my original stance on this, which is that showing The View to anyone should be considered a war crime.
War crime.
100%. 100%.
Well, but here's the thing.
Alien from Predator is not doing well these days.
Yeah.
But I can still make you laugh, Watcher. That's good.
Derna for $5 says The View is basically like if the witches from Macbeth got their philosophy, their prophecies wrong. Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing, right? Conservatives will go into liberal shows and engage with liberal people, and he will do so successfully, right? When liberals come on conservative shows, they always get fucking wrecked, and that's why they stop coming on. Because they can't fucking stand on their ideas, and none of their shit works. Oh, communism never been successful. Okay.
CWSB says, if I'd watched that for another 30 seconds, I would have admitted to shooting JFK.
Yeah, most people don't realize that The View is actually seen as a torture interrogation technique.
It's actually worse than waterboarding. So.
Yeah. Lance Corporal Veteran for $5 says, yet again, leftist, but the children quick to burn the Constitution. Yeah. Well, this generation is one of the most conservative, the Gen Alpha or whatever is one of the most base generations in a long time. Still got a lot of leftists out there, but we're doing better with young folk. And you want to talk about there. So I think the things with young people there are specific issues, right? That really tend to radicalize and engage and let's be honest, enrage just regular people. And this next thing we're going to talk about is doing that by the thousands in the UK. It's one of those kind of things like, oh, well, everybody gets upset at one guy having a bad day at the hands of immigrants and the cops. Henry Novak. I mean, the poor kid could have lived, but he died but for getting stabbed in the chest and the police being completely gross negligent with him. But he's one guy, right? Unfortunately, he died, but he's still one guy. This report is the systematic genocide, because I don't know any other word for it, right? The systematic destruction of an entire cohort of young women in the UK, right? Almost exclusively white. 250,000 of these women were groomed. Girls. These young girls were groomed and raped in the United Kingdom at the hands of a majority Central Asian population. So this is Rupert. Fucking what's his last name?
Lowe.
Rupert Lowe. Yeah, Rupert Lowe. And he is going to articulate this. It's a little long, so guys, if you want to pause it or if you want to comment on things, just pause and comment as.
Is he in his mom's kitchen or his mom's attic? I mean,
I think he's in his attic. You know, he's a country farmer for Christ's sake.
I know, I'm just having fun. Just trying to have a little fun today.
Joe, I'm really surprised that he didn't pose in front of some sort of pastoral farm background, because that's what he normally does.
That's what he has been doing, yeah.
But look at him. I mean, he fucking looks rough at this point. So, I mean, this guy is not having a good day for the worst possible reason. So let's let him put it in his words what's going on in the UK.
Report is over 200 pages long, and it goes into the root causes of probably the most extensive, widespread scandal that has ever beset Britain. It goes to every corner of the country. It's not in silos, it's everywhere. And it involves failure by the British establishment. And by the British establishment, I mean, obviously, government ministers, the civil service, local government, social services, the police, the judiciary, the NHS, and the media, who is supposed to be the guardian for the British people of scandals like this, but they've singularly failed to do that. The report goes into the reasons how it's happened. It goes into the reasons why it's happened, and that is all the reasons, and we analyze everything. I'm very grateful to all of the experts who appeared, all of the survivors who were brave enough to appear, all of my fellow MPs who came, and most of all to Graham Smith, who is the barrister who has produced this report with help from members of the inquiry team as well. I'm immensely grateful to all of them. It's been a very harrowing experience. Some of the testimonies we heard were beyond believable. And it is an evil which needs to be dealt with, and dealt with now. I want to let people know that this is not the end of it. We will be pursuing those people who have failed us. There will be private prosecutions. To put things into context, this report, which was funded by 20,000 concerned citizens who gave as much as they could afford, it raised £600,000. The J inquiry alone cost the taxpayer 186 million. We still have funds left to help us to pursue private prosecutions and to start the process of prosecuting those people who have failed us. We're also intent on naming those people in Parliament, where we're not going to prejudice a legal case, so that everybody knows those people who are responsible, who should have dealt with this, but failed to deal with it. So it's been a long, hard, arduous 16 months, and I want to thank everybody. And I hope that every member of the British public has the time to read this. It's not straightforward. It will take time, but it needs to be understood, and it needs to be dealt with, and dealt with now. Not through a statutory inquiry which has been forced by our inquiry, a statutory inquiry which, by the way, has had the terms of reference watered down and will, like all government failures, be kicked down the road. And by the time hands are held up and people admit there's a problem, the people who made the decisions, the bad decisions, which is common in government, as we've seen with the post office, as we've seen with infected blood and countless other scandals that have had to be cleaned up, that there will be no retribution, no holding to account. And when there's no holding to account, these things continue to happen. So Please read it, and please understand how this has happened. We can never let it happen again. It is pure, driven, unfettered evil.
Yeah, it's a little on the long side, but man, I think he says it really well.
He's 100% right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a huge stain on the British government and the British people. Let's be honest, the British fucking people are to account for this. Derna for $5 says the View is basically. Oh, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. See, okay. Joe, what's your kind of take on this? I mean, just the whole thing.
I think that the most important thing that he said was that bit at the end: it's pure, unadulterated evil. And warning people who are harming your children, and then telling victims, don't talk about this because we don't want others to get upset. That's not your role as a government. If you look at the Bible, God says that he does not carry the sword in vain. He is God's appointed avenger. And if your government refuses to be God's appointed avenger for the victims, then it's not a government that you should support. And this is just absolutely evil. And the whole part about Sadiq Khan being informed and not caring, that doesn't surprise me one bit. Sadiq Khan has never lied about who he is, right? He's made it very clear from the very beginning that he's a Muslim first and a mayor later. And you got to do something about this. You cannot just allow this to stand. You can't just go, oh, man, this makes me so mad and I'm so angry, and then go on about your life. I'm sorry, but you just cannot.
Yeah.
I won't say anything else because this is the internet, and I'll probably get some sort of a notice that we're in violation of UK law or something, but I just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I don't live in the UK, so fuck them. I don't care.
You know what, Jay Clark, great point. Let me go off on this tangent. Jay Clark said there's also that bit about a watchman who doesn't cry out being executed. Ezekiel 33 talks about the watchman and being a watchman. And our show is the watchman, because it says that if the watchman blows his bugle and you save yourself, then all is good. But if you don't hear the watchman and you don't pay attention to his warning and you die, that's on you. But it also says if the watchman sees something and he doesn't tell others about it so that they can take action, he should be put to death. And in this case, the watchman, the UK police, should be put to death. They're not serving the people at all.
Yeah. All right, Watcher, let's go to the next one. This is taking some stuff directly from the report here. So I was saying that this is a stain on the nation. This is a stain on the... Oh, no, that's not the next one. Yep, there you go. All right, so it's not just a stain on the nation and the British people. It's a stain specifically and personally on Keir Starmer, because it's not like Keir Starmer came out of nowhere, right? This guy's been in the liberal socialist machine within labor machine within the UK for a long time. The sitting Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, presided over public prosecutions of thousands of rape cases. He let 13,000 suspected rape gang members and pedophiles off with warning letters. Now the information is blowing up on X. He is leading the charge to ban X. Shock of all shocks, right? I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was this bad. So going down here, he cites it here in the report, and it also talks about Sadiq Khan as well, which is kind of like a separate but different point. And this poster says this is movie level evil. Yeah, this is demonic, is what this is.
Yeah, 100%.
So appropriately enough, the President Donald Trump knows how to treat Keir Starmer. Let's see. They're saying this moment has gone viral in the UK. I think it's pretty funny. All in all.
We're going to go live now to everyone in France, where Donald Trump has just arrived. He's meeting G7 leaders there.
It looks like Keir's just waiting for a handshake.
Almost shoulder to shoulder with Donald Trump, actually.
Could be some tense conversations, though, in the next day and a half left at the G7. Talk about free speech. Also, we know that President Trump will not be a fan of this ban on social media for under 16s. The White House was warning about that last week, weren't they? Could be some tense conversations, though, in the next day and a half left at the G7. Talk about...
His Japanese girlfriend follows him over. I just like the fact that
Trump and Japanese prime ministers, right? Him and
I was going to say
Shinzo Abe
she's following Shinzo Abe's face. She goes over with Trump, then realizes her seat's on the other side of the table and has to go the other side. So I thought that was kind of endearing, like she's just, like she feels closer to Trump than any of these other people, it looks like. Mark Carney, that piece of fucking shit.
Look at me, guys. I'm with the cool kids.
We just made it at the table, just barely.
All
right.
Well, on from the small bit of humor in this segment to
back to
absolute and utter bleakness.
Yeah, we talked about Sadiq Khan. Oh no, I don't know if you got them out of order or whatever. This next to the next one here, Sadiq Khan. Yep. So Sadiq Khan, get a load of this. He personally read reports of young girls gang raped in London hotels by Muslims, plied with drugs, threatened, and abused. Yet, on multiple occasions, he publicly denied grooming gangs existed in the capital. And that denial essentially is what allowed these girls to be abused because they didn't take the problem seriously. I have no evidence of this. This is me just kind of spitballing into the ether here. As a man of Central Asian descent, he might be fucking biased. Oh, he might actually wink, wink, nudge, nudge, not have a fucking problem with it.
Takia. I mean, he's going to say that that's not going on, even when he knows that it is, because his job is to help cover that up. Really not surprising at all to me.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, it is legal within the Quran to take women who are not Muslim women as sex slaves. So, I mean, he is a Muslim. He is okay with the Quran. Ergo, he is okay with these women becoming sex slaves.
And here's the thing, too. He might not view them as grooming gangs, right? They're not grooming gangs. It's actually ISIS and Al-Qaeda, so it's not a grooming gang. He's right.
All right, this next one here just kind of goes on about at the scale of which this is occurring.
There appear to have been upwards of 250,000 young white girls raped in this century, very largely by Muslim men.
That bothered to go to police that were known to not help them anyways, I will add.
This is only the ones that are known about.
And given the...
I must conclude that either gravity has stopped working or there is a chronic rope shortage in Britain.
Well, it's the lack of firearms to enforce the will of the people against the armed state. When the state has a monopoly on violence, your options are very limited.
So this is just another kind of news story about it. Independent rate gang report was published yesterday and reveals the horrific details. Let's see. And this expert is a tiny part of just one victim story. Around the age of 13, Chloe disclosed to social services that she was being sexually abused by gangs of Muslim men. In response, social services did not intervene, but rather talked to Chloe about contraception and sexual health. She was diagnosed with chlamydia in the throat and vagina, gonorrhea, genital warts, and pelvic inflammatory disease. Neither the social workers nor the clinical staffs questioned or reported this.
This is entirely common. It's just the way it is there. Let me say this to any British or UK folks who might be watching the show. I know that your government has disarmed you, but there's this great book series called The Gray Man, and in it, the main character posits that if he has a stick, he can get a knife from somebody. Then if he has a knife, he can get a gun from somebody. And if he can get a handgun from somebody, he can get a rifle. And if he has a rifle, he can get whatever he wants. Cool series of books. I think you should check it out.
We haven't got to this point in America, and I get the feeling that in America, I mean, you guys like me and Joe are very critical of people kind of sitting on their fucking ass not doing anything, right? But at the same time, I think, if anything, even approaching this kind of systemic crime were to happen in America, and you had any evidence whatsoever, I mean, there's like loads of evidence, and it's been around for the last, 15 years at least in Britain, right? Like widely known. If you had any kind of level of knowledge of something like this happening in America, America would explode and vigilantism would occur on a daily basis. Why is that not happening in the United Kingdom? And okay, I get it. You don't have guns. You don't have a shotgun that you can just take to your. There are a lot of other ways.
Easily remedied. One mind, any weapon. Easily remedied with a winner's attitude and a creative mindset.
Listen, they're just so conditioned to be subjects of the crown that they're not really willing to be disorderly at all, unless it relates to soccer, which is weird. And BLT has a great point. Someone pointed out that even the term grooming gangs downplays the reality. Yeah. 100%. Grooming gangs is the wrong word. They're rape gangs. That's what they are. Call them what they really are so people know it. If you call them rape gangs, all of a sudden you have to do something about it. Call it a grooming gang. It's something ambiguous and out there somewhere. A rape gang is very specific.
I think part of that came from the fact that if you said somebody was a rapist and you couldn't prove it in a court of law, then you are. But if you said they groomed them, then that was acceptable. So I think it just became a British thing, even though you and I know it's all fucking bullshit.
Apropos of the conversation we were having, this just came across my timeline and it's directly applicable.
One of the things that's become extremely apparent to me after spending a few days here with a group of Americans and other nationalities is how much of a English people are in general when it comes to arms, guns, and basically protecting their nation. We've been totally pacified in the UK, and through removal of our arms, our right to bear arms, it's caused a big problem for us. And now our government is basically turning into this absolutely tyrannical, feminine leadership that is gradually eroding all of our rights. And there's really not much we can do about it. One of the things that's
so Reverend Brown,
they have a fine warrior tradition, and they've just blown it away. It really breaks my heart to see that, because it was a good country with a strong warrior tradition. I mean, it's absolutely wild. And Jean says that she can't describe how man on fire I would become. Listen, John Creasy showed us the way. There's a way to handle this, right?
Rev Browncoat. Oh no, I might be ostracized.
Yeah. So right, this is you can't be afraid of this. Here's the thing: if they are willing to rape 250,000 people in your country, then you should be willing to get fucking arrested.
There is a time when I will take that ride and do that time.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Not even a question. Like,
and it's not even about. But here's the thing. I can't imagine that with a little bit of trouble, you couldn't find 10 other guys to do it with you.
Agreed.
So let's carry that a step further. To this day, we have the martyrs displayed in our churches, men and women who took stands on issues that led to their death and public flagellation and public ostracization. But to this day, we talk about the deeds they did. Agreed. Yes, I'm perfectly okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's hard. If somebody, it's one of those
hard
kind
to
of
be
things.
the first one to stand up, and that's really
Right.
the whole problem here.
We
But
still
let me
talk
say
about
something.
the men who died at the Alamo.
Yeah.
On a stupid fight. They could have gotten out and fought elsewhere, but they didn't.
No, I'm not pointing this back at you, Rev Burger. I think you're absolutely right.
No, we're trying to make the bigger point to the rest of the viewership, right?
Yeah, no, sorry, Rev. I didn't mean to come after you specifically. You just were an easy foil.
You
at the
just,
moment.
yeah. Well, no, I wanted you to say, you just kind of brought it up, what everybody, because I think you're exactly right. I think that, I want to be able to continue to go to the pub. I don't want people to call me a racist, you know?
Yeah. You know what? I spent a day with Rev Browncoat in real life, and I say he would be one of the first standing next to us in this.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Having followed him on Twitter for a while, I agree. So that's why I want to make sure. No, you just presented it, like I said, an easy conversational foil. That's all. One thing I want to say before we move on from this is there's an interesting question to me. When the Irish decided that it was time to rebel, there were many people in the United States who supported them materially. I'll leave it at that. I believe the same would happen for the Brits should they choose to rebel. The question is, will they even have the guts to make that choice, or are they, God, what's the term in psychology? Are they too far into learned helplessness?
They're in Stockholm Syndrome 100%.
Are they too cucked?
So during the height of the Battle of Britain, when we had just lost France, Britain was being pummeled daily with air attacks in preparation for a German invasion, which never came due to the Americans tipping the scales with a whole bunch of free stuff. We had the Arm a Brit Home initiative, where Americans were all asked to take one gun out of their closet and bring it to the local police department, who would then forward it on to the government. And these guns were all shipped to the United Kingdom and were placed in homes for people to defend themselves against the Germans should they land. Well, the Nazis have landed, and it's not the ones we thought it was going to be. It may again be time to send a gun to Britain, send a gun to a British home.
Yeah. Look, I think I'm glad Scott picked this next one to go in here, because it really helps, to have some historical
Context.
perspective to give context to the situations that you're in, right? Scott, I'm sure that you'll very eloquently do this, but for those of you who don't know, the rape of Nanking is considered like one of Asia's
the worst things,
giant resounding things that continues to echo to this day. They treat it like, anyhow. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, to give you an idea of scale, during the rape of Nanking, Japanese soldiers were estimated to have raped 20 to 80,000 Chinese women. This report estimates at least 250,000 women were victimized by Muslim rape gangs.
Mostly children.
Yeah. And, oh, by the way, they're not just Muslims. There are Hindu Indians involved as well. There are also Sikhs involved, not broadly, but I just don't want them to feel left out. And, oh, by the way, there are a smattering of white police who were involved and other white men who were tangentially related to a lot of these gangs. A lot of times these Muslims gangs would basically have a stable of young girls and then invite some of the white men that they wanted to, bring into the fold and invite them to enjoy their time with these girls.
By the way,
I'd also point out, though, that just because that report says police officers brought some of the girls back to the grooming gang homes, that does not imply that those police officers were white men. A lot of the police the metropolis there in London are indeed Muslim men who would engage in this type of behavior and would be perfectly okay with taking that girl right back where she ran from.
And in fairness, there is another point that the account makes. That this is right to say, rape of Nanking was only 6 weeks and hundreds of thousands were murdered as well, while the grooming gangs have been active since the 1950s. But the sheer number, it still speaks for itself. And it is only increased over the years versus decreasing. So it's not like, oh, well, this is a problem in the 70s and the 80s. Nope. This was a problem back then, but it was just a small problem back then. It is now a fucking giant problem, especially as you looked at the Muslim population of England increase.
Hey, if you're British or Scottish or whatever, you reside in the Isles, and you're debating on resisting your government or not, there's this great movie called Braveheart. In the middle of it, William Wallace gives a great speech about going back to your homes and dying peacefully in your beds. Okay? Maybe watch it. I'm just saying.
I mean, you're not even being given that option anymore, to be very frank.
Well, not to go the other way, but if you want to know how Americans handle like systemic oppression, you could also go with another Mel Gibson movie called The Patriot and see how we handle, murdering.
Watch the director's cut, because the scene with the tomahawk in the director's cut is way better than it is in the regular version.
Murdering redcoats, Sorry. Just saying.
So this next one is haunting.
So this is the father of one of the girls involved. This man's daughter had been kidnapped and was abused by a Pakistani rape gang. He tried to rescue her from the property as she was being held at, but British police arrived and arrested him on like racism and other charges while he's tried to save his daughter.
By the way, if the story you're about to hear says anything, the only lesson I take from it is act significantly quicker and with significantly more action so that they'll be forced to go inside the residence.
I'd got a phone call to say where Elizabeth was. So I come across, because I lived on next estate, I come across, banged on door. I saw a movement in curtain. Then within probably 5 minutes, a police car arrived. They asked me what I was doing. I told them. They arrested me and took me back to where I lived, and then they arrested me. So obviously I'm sat in house again, and I will getting more and more frustrated. So I come back over to the flat.
1 hour later or something, was it?
It was about 20 minutes.
All right, okay, yeah.
So it seemed within minutes, a van pulled up this time, and I think there were 2 or 3 officers. They arrested me, took me down to the police station. Took me in police station. They didn't take me to where they usually charge people, and that. They took me straight through into a room near cells. So I'm in there. About half an hour later, they come and got me. Come on, you're going. I went, what do you mean? Just follow me, they said. So I followed them, and they took me through officers and out from where police station is, where public going. And they warned me if I come back to the flat, I'd be arrested for stalking. Because stalking laws had just come in then, serious ones. So they let me go.
But what happens if you say, like, my daughter's in there, I want my daughter out? What do they say to you? She isn't in there, or she wants to stay in there, or what do they say to you?
It was what they were saying to me, it was what they were threatening me with. You know what I mean? They wouldn't answer me questions. Why wouldn't they get her out? Why wouldn't they let me get her out then if they don't want to do it? And I just kept coming back all the time. Look, you're targeting people because of the race. I said, I'm not at all. It's because of what they're doing. These are grown men.
Yeah.
Hangings. Many of them. There's only one solution to this. There is no governmental solution to this.
And just in case you wanted to know the motivations of these men doing these actions, I will leave you with a final tweet here from Tommy Robinson. Before gang raping Taylor, they chanted about Allah. They did this across the nation. It's all linked to Islam. Before they raped me, they would chant Bismillah, Hir Rahman Nir Ramin. Translation, in the name of Allah, the most gracious and most merciful. If this is why they did it. They see this as a right, not a crime, a fucking right.
They see it as an act of humiliation. to subjugate the citizenry where they are.
And their women enable it.
Yes. Yes.
This is not something like, oh, well, don't let the women find it. No, the women know about it, and the women are actually actively helping groom these women. Yeah, here's another one. Fiona says, I was beaten regularly. I was drugged, filmed being raped, and the footage was distributed. I sustained broken bones, facial injuries, and severe trauma. I was subjugated to racial abuse in the commentary and blamed by families of the perpetrators. And this is not just Muslim men. There are plenty of white men that were involved in both the cover-up and actually participating in this. And guess what side of the aisle most of those men tend to support?
Huh. Weird. Odd correlation there.
So, guys, that's all I got for the show today. I am appropriately pissed. If this was happening in America, you would have blood in the streets, I guarantee you. And if it wasn't me, it would be somebody else. There are a lot of fathers of daughters out there that are justifiably angry. And the fact that we haven't lost our YouTube account over this, I think is, I mean, you know, I assume YouTube's still up. Yeah. We got the chat from the YouTube. So I'm just shocked that we've been able to sustain this throughout the live stream. I honestly thought we would get taken off the
right.
You know, so 99 watching over on YouTube right now. I appreciate you guys. If you wouldn't be so kind, wherever you're watching, if you're fucking pissed off about this, hit that like button. Let us, you know, just say a few things in the chat after the show. Maybe if you want to be spicy, do it over on Rumble. I've got something coming out for my locals this week on this, so look for that. I would appreciate if you guys supported the locals. It's a new work in progress. I've done a better job of. I think I've got 3 things on there now in the last 4 weeks. So I didn't do anything last week, so I owe 2 things this week. So we'll see what we can do here, drawn and quartering. Be prepared. I love it. All right, guys, let's go around the horn. Joe, what do you think's coming up for the week? We're on hump day, so.
I think you're going to see, as this story was just coming out yesterday, you're going to see a lot more reeing and screeching about MAGA violence, even though these people were clearly not MAGA. The left and the media is not going to care. That's the image they're going to paint. You're going to see anti-Christian rhetoric. You're going to see anti-Second Amendment rhetoric from it. So brace yourselves. The risk level has gone up, even though the attack was stopped.
Just me for $9.99 says, hey, just and the place in Texas you should see San Jacinto Monument. It's bigger than Wharton Monument. I don't get the reference.
Justin Place must be a person in the chat. I don't
know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we were talking about the Alamo in a side conversation.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, Washington. Yeah. Okay. All right. Watcher?
Yeah, I my eyes are on Europe. I think that they are rapidly dissembling, and the government is pulling in a lot of stops that are going to be worth more trouble, that are going to be more trouble than they're worth in the long run, to try and silence the internet very rapidly as they move into an election where the EU looks to lose control of the UK once again, but for real this time. And the EU is also freaking out about it. I think things could get significantly ugly significantly quickly.
Yep, I think I you know, Joe, you've always been kind of like somebody who made people aware of the fact that you know, appreciate what you have today, because 48 hours from now it could all be gone. It can turn on a dime just like that. And we have just enough kind of dry kindling in the brush to make that fire pop very quickly. So,
by the way, the lead time for a new transformer is extended to 128 weeks. So that's over 2 years to get a new transformer. So think about if suddenly like 295 of them all went down at once, what would you do? You would just not have power. So.
Yep. It would be a tough day for all of us if something like that were to happen.
A year ago, it was 77 weeks. It is now 128 weeks. So.
Jesus. All right, guys, that's all we've got. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Watcher. I'm pretty upset about this whole thing. And as a father of daughters, it's not something that you like to dwell upon. And Joe, how it is sometimes in thinking about what you would do to these people if that situation happened to you. It takes you to dark places that we've seen before, and we would rather not see again. But it's just the reality of that type of thing, right? People don't want this to happen. Trust me. People don't want this to go where it could go. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, chat. Thank you, panel. If you haven't done already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, hit the fucking like button, guys. Come on, I don't ask for much, but do that for me, please. All right. We will be back on Friday, same time, same channel. If you haven't done any of those things, then get off your fucking ass and do them. We'll be back. You guys stay safe.